All right, are we here? All right, now this is a little video that needs to be had. First of all, if you got you a little heater and it's damp outside, look at that dry spot. You got to put a little heat on the situation to stay comfortable. But we had a brake line go out on little Susie here, and what I did was I had to put a new one in. Now that's a union. That's not a compression fitting. I got right there and I needed another piece, which I knew I would. The guy didn't have a 1-footer. I would have put it on the inside of the engine bay, but the oil you see on there is fluid film. Anyway, that being said, the situation, we got it ran down through the firewall. I put fluid film on all the connections and all the points where it mounts to the body. Down below, you see it go across, okay? And then the situation, you have to pull all this out of the way. It makes it easier. And I'm glad I did, because underneath the filter, there was a bunch of peanuts and all kinds of stuff that must have had a little chipmunk get through this little port right here, go up through, and build a little nest in there. So I got that cleaned out. Again, put some fluid film on all the connections, like the battery and all these little clamps right here that like to break. Okay, as you see, putting this back in here, see this little clamp right here? This one over here, just trying to push it back in. It was so rusted it snapped off. Now, I've had this car going on 12, almost 13 years. And I got it out of New Jersey. I paid $1,800 for it, and it doesn't owe me a dime. Now, that being said, I put the clutch in it twice myself, which is very cheap to do. Very inexpensive. And what else have I done to this? Brakes and routine maintenance, so forth. I did put some dedicated snows on it for the winter. That makes a big difference. I topped off the power steering fluid and the radiator. It must have a very tiny leak somewhere, or, you know, the worst thing about a car to let it do is set. But anyway, we're going to, as soon as my son gets out here, we're going to go ahead and prime this system and bleed the brakes. But you see I got it all the way down the back behind them 2 lines, secured where it went. It goes right along. This air box has a little foam piece. You have to kind of adjust that a little bit, but there it is, right there, right here. Okay, and then again, I fluid filmed everything, so as soon as he gets out here, we're going to do that. But the reason I want to show you this video wasn't to show you the routine maintenance. I got in the car, and inside the car I have some tissues, and the tissue situation looks like a mice or a squirrel or something got in there, or a little chipmunk, and chewed the living daylights out of the top piece of the tissue. So obviously something is still getting in there, and let me show you where they're getting in. You got this cover here, right? All the cars have these covers. Well, you have to have an air intake going into your automobile to get fresh air. And the reason I know that's where they're coming in is because the filter had, you know, droppings and everything else on it. So I had to clean that all out, wash it out, clean it with Clorox. This is the situation now. Now, if you could see underneath this, there's a vent here. Can you see the little squares? They're maybe less than 1 inch. And I don't know why, for the life of me, these car manufacturers do not put a screen over the top of that air inlet. Them mice can get right in them little 1-inch blocks or vents. And now he better have some damn good teeth if he wants to get through that, because that's not even aluminum, that's stainless. And you can get that, that guy needs a damn muffler. You can get this off online in little sheets, and you can cut it with a, I got a set of shears from Harbor Freight, but 1/8-inch drill bit, go all the way around it, because they'll try to weasel under there. These things are, they're worse than metamoles. But that's what you want to do. I don't care what year car you got. I've done it to all my vehicles now. That's a plastic ring. Just go ahead and be careful and drill through it every couple of inches or inch or so, and then put that screen down, and you will not have no more mice in your car. Okay, unless you've got an open hole in your floorboard or something like that, you won't have no mice, because that's where they're getting in. This other vent doesn't have any openings down into the cab of the vehicle. So that's the situation, and there it is. I mean, this is my little Susie Q, so I got to take care of her, you know. And then you just put them back on. That goes right back over. Bingo, bingo, boingo. There's little holes here that you put little tabs in, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not worried about that. It ain't going nowhere. But that's the situation, and it's a beautiful day here. I mean, it's got to be 45, 50 degrees out, it feels like. I mean, look at this situation we have here. The 1st of January, upstate New York, and we don't have any snow. But there you go, people. If you've got an issue, you start finding mice droppings, or you smell mice urine or something in your car, clean it out and go ahead and get to that intake with your air filter. And the other thing is change your cabin filter, because that's what you'll be breathing. If not, mice feces. You don't want that. So it doesn't matter how new the car is neither. If you go ahead and buy you a 2022, and I guarantee you they have a vent for an intake. It's just common science. I mean, you have to have air to come in order to push it around your car across the heater core. So there we go. I hope you found that useful, and I am going to try. As a matter of fact, let me tell you something about this. I hit 2 deer with this car. I told you I paid $1,800 for it. They gave me something like $3,600 for it when I hit them 2 deer. That's why them 2 fenders and that hood right there, that's just fenders I bought offline that were just primed. I never did paint them. And look, that's been about 4 years there. I mean, does it have a high sheen to it? No, you got a little surface rust here. But you know what? For the $40 that they were, oh, and I bought new headlights for it. And I think that was it. Maybe a front bumper I found at the Picky Pull. But I think I fixed her up for about $400. And at the time, the guy who wrote the estimate, he was a little pissed off because he didn't get the business. But at the end of the day, I think I flipped him $100 anyway for his estimate. So he can pound sand. Anyway, I'm fixing my own stuff. I'm fixing my own stuff, and I'm keeping that green right in my pocket. I am not trying to play games, giving my money to some car manufacturer. Now, this is an 04. You do the math. It's almost 20 years old. It's 18 years old, but she still goes down the road. She still passes inspection. And what did I do? An evap canister, fuel lines, a fuel pump. I've done all the little things that need doing. But at the end of the day, you too can have an older vehicle. This is just my beater back and forth. This goes to the airport and back and runs around. But and lets the salt just go ahead at it. But, you know, here's the thing. I never did fluid film this until a couple years ago. Had I done that right from Jump Street, you know, it wouldn't even have none of this rust on it. And I still randomly, you see how there's another one right there. Brush that power steering line, or that elbow brakes. You're looking at about $80 for that line. So, and it's a pain in the butt trying to get it down there to that rack and pinion setup. So, there's a reason for everything, people. There is a reason for everything. All right, little Susie says goodbye, and I say goodbye. So we'll talk to y'all later.